description. Okay.
There we go. Hey, everyone. Hello. Come on in. Join us. We're going to have a great topic today, talking about that Black wealth, sustainable wealth, generational wealth, whatever you want to call it, whatever the buzzword is. Welcome to Melanated Air. I am here at the Teddy Ewing at the Real Teddy Talks with my girl, Madam President, at one Madam President with a Z, and Miss Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop, all on social media. Welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about money, which we do a lot. But this one is about money not ending up in our hands like it should. So the topic today, I want to say LaNée brought this topic. Now, LaNée is absent today, and that's not usual. The homegirl is knee-deep in dissertation preparation. So we're going to give her a pass. Miss Keisha Ravenell as well, planning for her wedding and her new launch. So she has a lot of big things going on. Hey, ESH, be blessed. Be one to you too, honey. So today, let's talk about Wells Fargo, and let's talk about how there's a lawsuit brought against them because during the start of COVID, when interest rates were at an all-time low, they were rejecting Black applicants' mortgage applications at a rate of 2 to 1 as compared to any other banking industry. So out of 100% that applied, qualified applicants, 47% were being rejected compared to, say, about 74% of their competitors. And the question is why? What is going on? How are they still doing this? And what the hell do we do about it to fix it?
Oh boy. First of all, I want to say welcome to everyone in the comment section. And please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and like, share, and subscribe to the Melanated Air Hour. I have to say, Wells and Fargo has become a bit of a nightmare overall for the banking industry within the last 10 years. You know, they paid out $175 million settlement in a discrimination lawsuit back in 2012 after a government probe discovered that more than 35,000 cases of where the bank had basically charged Black and Hispanic customers higher fees and rates than their white customers who had similar credit profiles. And then there was that $3 billion payout that took place where Wells and Fargo admitted there was even a hearing that was held before Congress that between 2002 and 2016, they had pressured their very own employees to meet unrealistic sales goals that led to thousands of their employees opening up, I think it was illegal accounts or something like that, and opening them up under their customers under false pretenses. Yes. So they were basically using their identities without consent to boost sales, misusing customer information, customer identities. And here we are again in 2022.
Again.
With a modern day redlining going on yet again. So I don't know who banks with Wells and Fargo. I used to, but this is becoming a complete nightmare. Not only is it, it's clear that they're exercising racial bias against Black borrowers, but it points to their overall nasty conduct to me as a corporation, that there's been a sinister trend of just nasty conduct and behavior to happen within their corporation. I mean, the banking industry at large has a reputation, particularly during the subprime mortgage scandal. But Wells and Fargo is like the Darth Vader of the banking industry.
And they are like, what do they call that when people keep committing a crime over and over? Like repeat offender. They are repeat offenders. And I just don't know what we need to do about it. Like, Madam President, what do you think? Like, what do we do about it? Like, do we cancel them? Like, is it canceled?
Absolutely. Yes. In the words of probably Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton.
Al Sharpton.
Got to go. Okay? Wells Fargo has got to go. If Wells Fargo was a human being, he would be under the jail. This is a practice of complete white supremacy being upheld by the American people's money. Who is funding this? First of all, what bank that's completely have been approved and okay with all accounts of fraud? Opening up people's account without their consent is fraud. You know what I'm saying? Folks be online. We got the sister that was over at City Girl. She went to jail for fraud. She said, hell, I served 2 years. Meanwhile, Wells Fargo CEO, he gets an extra yacht for fraud.
They get extra. They still get their bonuses. They still get everything.
Everything.
VC Jones says those huge fines are just the cost of doing business. They so big, the output of cash does not matter to them. And I will go to Faye's point and say, I think this is, I can't, my words are leaving me today, but it's like on purpose. Like who would turn down free money? Who would turn down someone leaving one banking institution, coming to your institution to bring their mortgages there? And these are qualified candidates. These are people with 750 plus, 780 plus credit scores getting turned down for mortgages. So it's nefarious. It is on purpose. It is deliberate, and it's to prevent. This is another one of those moments, y'all. We keep bringing up Black Wall Street. We keep bringing up Tulsa. This is a transfer of wealth right now, because think about it. If every white applicant, if 80% of white applicants were getting their home mortgages refinanced from 4% down to 2.75%, and every Black applicant was getting denied and they stopped right there, that is a transfer of wealth. Now these Black applicants are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars more on their mortgage interest than their white counterparts, their white neighbors. This is a problem.
It's a big problem. And one of the things that I know for a fact is this is why Faye has been saying, stop playing with these Democrats. Stop playing with these politicians. Get serious. These politicians sitting around, they got everything under the sun to get you out to vote. Meanwhile, your day-to-day is still being affected. Day to day. We're talking about our day to day. We're not talking about during election time. We're talking about how our politicians benefiting from our day to day. And what I'm noticing is this is a pure reflection of racism and white supremacy.
Absolutely.
Racism could be measured, and another thing that I've always thought about when it comes to things like this too is the fact that all of this is done in secrecy. Put it up in the public. Put it in the public eye. This person is the loan officer. This person is the underwriter. This person is the applicant. This is the approval. This is how America get away with all the lying, all the deceit, because it's done behind closed doors. Put it out in the public.
Absolutely.
Yes. It's crazy. It's what, some 50 or 60 years after the Federal Fair Housing Act banned racial discrimination in lending. The fact that this continues to be we African-American people, Black people, I hate the term African-American. We'll get into that another discussion, but African-American people, Black people, and Latinos even continue to be routinely denied conventional loans, increases in our credit limits. That and we can't even just it shows. Excuse me, I'm stuttering over my words, but it shows you how no matter what we do, no matter how hard we try, even if we're doing everything right, we're never going to be at a fair playing field as our white counterparts. This modern day redlining has persisted in over 61 metro areas. I looked it up this morning. When it comes to controlling or looking for, information that you put down on an application for a loan amount, they look into the neighborhoods. According to millions of Home Mortgage Disclosure Act records analyzed, this analysis is based on 31 million records. And this is what has led to the lawsuit that is taking place right now. Yet this is like their 4th or 5th lawsuit in 10 years.
It keeps coming. Our Miss LaNée Javet says, how do you have that conversation with your staff? Don't approve Black applicants? Like, who is controlling this narrative, and how are they able to get away with it? So I'll give you some insight into the military. When we do promotion boards, there is a normal process for promotion, but on the side of that process, there may be something going on congressionally that may say, okay, I know here's the standard, but we want more Black officers in this. We want more Hawaiian officers and more Asian officers doing this. So they'll kind of put like a paragraph out there that says, while making your decision, consider this as well, right? So it's almost like, this is my stamp of approval for you to do a little bit off what's standard and what's normal. So is that what Wells Fargo is doing? And why is everybody okay? Why has there not been an internal whistleblower? Unless they don't have no Black applicants or are Black employees, or all the Black employees just ain't riding for, the skin folk and kin folk thing. I don't know.
It's
I'm
survival,
curious.
Teddy. It's survival. This is the what is it called? This is the corporate the atmosphere, the corporate morale of this company. The morale is completely bankrupt. And it's funny that we have a moral compass of 0 in this company, because you're dealing with all these people. And a lot of people, I saw a Black woman do a Twitter or TikTok or I don't know, Instagram video that pretty much she talks about how she has Wells Fargo and how she has good credit. And I don't think she read the article. I don't think she did the research to kind of come to the conclusion that you being selected has nothing to do with the millions who've been rejected.
Exactly.
That's one of our problems in our community. We feel like, oh, I'm good. It didn't happen to me. Well, it doesn't have to happen to you for it to be a problem universally.
Yes.
So that's one of the issues. It's like we keep on turning the other cheek. Now, I already know when you in those spaces, you know how it is. It's one. And I think Dr. Boyce said it best. When you're fighting white supremacy, you are a soldier against an army. You get what I'm saying? Where my soldiers at? That's the question. Who's ready for the battle? We got folks who really standing up against this stuff all by themselves. That's the problem. That's why folks forget it. So I mean, you got melanated air, you know what I'm saying? But the reality is it requires an army. And we let our government get away with everything as it relates to the people. Everything. This is a problem. This company has proven that it does not have the moral competence to hold funds for millions of people. Let it go. This company, I feel like the movement should be, if you are Black with Wells Fargo, if I was a CEO over a bank, okay, I would say, let's capitalize on this. Everybody who has every Black African-American person who has a Wells Fargo account, tell them we'll match their mortgage right now. Tell them we'll take it over right now. We're going to put an end to this company. We're going to put an end to this racism. I ain't even seen nothing. All the Black
people are so used to the abuse. We're so used to the discrimination. We're so used to the white supremacy that we just like, oh, that's a shame. I hope the people denied get a settlement.
It's crazy.
This is bigger than a settlement, okay?
It's funny, and I tweeted this a couple of days ago. I said, Black people know how to cancel everything but the right stuff. Y'all are ready to cancel Dave Chappelle and Lizzo and who is everybody? Who is the people that's been all of these people? Every single rapper.
Italian now, she getting canceled.
I mean, y'all know how to cancel them, but you're not on there dragging Wells Fargo for the filth to cancel them. Lending discrimination runs counter to fundamental promises of our whole economic system. I don't think a lot of people understand that this, as Chanel said, is white supremacy. This is the part of the system set up. When people are denied credit simply because of their race or national origin, their ability to share in our nation's prosperity as Americans is basically all but eliminated.
If you can't get an affordable mortgage with an affordable interest rate, and we're going to see in this next year, and I know Faye can back me up on this, these interest rates are finna go through the roof compared to what we've seen the last decade. We are going to see interest rates we haven't seen in over a decade, and it's going to be jarring. I mean, people who have mortgages back, we're talking 15, 20 years ago, they're paying 6% interest, 7% on a home. $100, $200, $300,000 loan. If y'all can do quick math, that is not good over a 30-year period if that's how long people are holding it. My mom used to say when I was young, she said, Black people can't have good credit. That's what she said. And I'll be like, and then when I was younger, I believed it. Then I got older and I had good credit. I'm like, see, she didn't know what she's talking about. But what my mom didn't phrase right was Black people can have good credit, but it won't matter. Because if you're telling me that Wells Fargo is denying all of its Black applicants, and I can see the stats on the damn article of how they were denying perfectly qualified Black applicants, then that means they do know that I'm Black. And that is not just my name and my credit score, it's my name, my credit score, and my ethnicity. And that is terrifying, y'all. That is a problem. That is a huge problem.
It is, especially in these current times, in this inflated economy that we're dealing with. I don't think a lot of people understand what inflation means and how it affects us, especially us Black people who stand to be affected the most. You know, when it comes to inflation, it's important to know that it does not discriminate. And there is no perfect playbook that exists on how to invest or buy things in a high inflation world. So with those high interest rates, it doesn't even matter how much money you have in savings, because the cost of everything is up. That's going to deplete that number for you. And this is why it's important for us to get serious about what it is we want. And this is why I've been trying to shy everybody away from all of this entertainment distraction stuff that they keep us caught up in, the daily gossip and the canceling of all these different celebrities and stuff like that, and understand that we need to get serious about where we're trying to be economically, especially in the now, because you had Joe Biden get on TV so many times, I would say, in the last couple of months and talk about a reset. A couple of people have caught it, but I don't think we realize what he's saying. You know, the Russians have just stepped away from the petrodollar. I don't think a lot of people understand what that means, but we're certainly going to find out soon. So when it comes to canceling, we need to get with these banks and remove our money and leave them alone. Don't work for them either.
Yeah. Let's have an honest conversation about banking, because I'm military. My banking over the last 20 plus years has been easy. I don't get charged. Like, I can open accounts with certain banks. I don't have those minimum account things where you have to have a minimum balance. I don't have to where you have to have a direct deposit. I don't have none of that. So my banking has been virtually free for over 2 decades. But I do know, like in my husband's case, that when you open a new account, they require certain things. They require minimum deposits. They require direct deposits. They'll charge you a fee monthly if you don't have this. So banking is actually expensive if you don't have the income to support the account. So is it easy for someone to move from Wells Fargo to, dare I say, never Bank of America? Bank of America is a hot mess, but to something else. Is it that easy as we're making it?
I think that it's easy to move if you feel like it. A lot of times when it comes to banking, let's just, some people, they get direct deposits, some people don't. Let's just basic banking, not even big money. Check the check, folks.
Check the check.
Let's do it check the check. If you're serious about moving your money to a different bank, then it will not be a difficulty. A lot of times, if you have one bank account, you can get another. A lot of times banks, that's how they thrive, by holding your money. So the one thing they will do, whether they give you credit and all other things, they will give you an account, right? You get a checking account, savings account. That will be easy. It will be anybody who's in Wells Fargo can definitely move their money without, I believe, turbulence. It shouldn't be problematic. Now let's talk about if you're in a Wells Fargo loan. Moving that is, if that would be the thing, what bank, what credit union, will give you something better. But based on what Wells Fargo seems to be offering, they won't be difficult to beat. Based on what you're saying, if you're Black, they probably have some kind of underlying abuse going on with you in your account anyway.
You don't even know it. And you don't even know. And you need to do it now. I'm talking before, we're at March 24th. You need to do it now. Because I assure you, April 1st, insurance rates are going to creep on up. April 15th, up a little more. May 1st is up a more. So if you're going to do it, you need to do it right this minute. You need to find, if you have a loan, you need to find one of those, a credit line, a credit card with a credit union, some other bank you've had that may be offering 0% interest on transfers for 6 months, a year. Take advantage of that now, y'all, because in another 6 months, you will not see it. You will not see those offers. You will not be able to transfer into something that has a better interest rate. If you're trying to refinance your mortgage, I don't know, depending on when you got it, it may be best to just stick with it because the next 2 years are going to be turbulent for mortgages. Credit unions, Damon Reed said in the comment, credit unions, absolutely. Start to leverage those credit unions that your mom, your grandmother had. They don't have great banking. They don't have a lot of online stuff. You might have to go into the branch. Do it anyway. Get those interest rates. It's not about convenience at this point. It's about protecting your money and being able to grow your money, have your money make money without white supremacy stopping it. Because there's nothing else. The president said, they have to come out and say, this is not true, or we found the culprits. We've fired them. We've addressed the situation and we're fixing it. They don't give a darn about fixing it. So they've said they don't give a darn about you and your dollars. So you need to take your dollars elsewhere.
And they especially won't give a damn now that we're in a war. If you notice, whenever there's war, our banking system and trade is just a mess. The economic system, period, is always a mess. It happened after 9/11, right? It happened after the collapse of 2008. And then notice that was all around the Syrian war. Whenever there's a war, you can always expect the worst. And I try not to say his name too much, but when Trump was in office, notice for those 4 years, there weren't any wars and there weren't too much issues in terms of the rates going up. Yeah. But unfortunately, over the last year or so, this is what has happened. And then for this Wells and Fargo situation again to become, it's like a never ending nightmare. And it's going to be an even bigger nightmare if you don't take the advice that Teddy gave today and move your money. Credit unions. I have been with a credit union now for over 2 decades. I am going to die with a credit union. I love my credit union. I'm not going to leave. I always encourage it because with everything now with inflation is why this is very important. And it's why this conversation is so important to have, because I don't think a lot of people understand the role that the banking system plays in inflation. You know, there's no such thing as an endless supply of money that can be printed for whomever needs it or wants it without consequence. There is a fractional reserve banking system in place where when interest rates are low, individuals and businesses tend to demand more loans, right? And each bank loan increases the money supply in a fractional reserve banking system. Now, according to the quantity theory of money, growing money supply increases inflation. Thus, low interest rates tend to result in more inflation. And then they creep up. And then you get the Federal Reserve involved. And then there's a role the private bankers and international markets play in it. And you have to know about the macroeconomic values and the effects of the financial sectors across the world that just affects us all. In particular, even if you don't work, what I'm saying is, even if you don't work for like a Wells and Fargo, but you work for like a subsidiary company, it's going to affect them. If you do business with like a Wells Fargo subsidiary, and I think they have a ton of them. I don't know if SunTrust was a subsidiary at one point. I could be having my companies mixed up, but it's the same thing. So it's not just Wells and Fargo, it's understanding the role the whole banking system plays and knowing who their subsidiaries are so that you can not do business with them as well. Because this inflation situation is very, 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 very serious. And a lot of central banks have responded to the current inflation situation. Like you have Brazil, Mexico, and Russia, among many countries where monetary policies are changing. But unfortunately, all of this is going to affect the cost of borrowing. And the higher cost of borrowing affects more of those living paycheck to paycheck, which is who? Mostly Black Americans. It's
absolutely.
It is.
Now, I want to touch on that again, but I want to reset the room because we've been talking for about 20 minutes.
I know.
So for those of you just joining us, The topic actually is not clickbait at all. This is 100% real deal. What does the banking industry have against its Black borrowers and the Wells Fargo nightmare? This is a legit story. This is happening. We have to care because all of us need to leverage our money at some point. Those of you that are living a lifestyle of, I don't have any debt, I don't need any credit, I pay my bills right on time, but you're not building credit, I feel like that can create problems too, because you're not really building wealth if you're not leveraging money in some form or fashion, whether it's in investments, whether it's in real estate, stock market, things like that. So Faye talks a lot about inflation and how that's huge and how that's going to affect every single one of us in America and globally as well. Even me in Egypt, the price of eggs went up almost 50%, y'all. And for people who are living on pennies and dollars a day, that is significant. There are people who are worried about feeding their family because the price of eggs went from, for 30 eggs, from $2, is it $2? About $2 to $3.50 or $3. Like, that's significant, right? That can affect them and how they do their day-to-day life. For you, it's the same thing. Getting your loans, credit cards, line of credits, paying your mortgage, home loan, auto loans, anything, buying real estate, becoming an investor, all of this is affected by this. And Wells Fargo is a repeat offender. They have told Black people from their actions over the last 10 years that we do not care if we have your business. We don't care how we look. We don't care about our image. We might put a Black person on our homepage and they're smiling with the keys to their house, but we really didn't give it to them because they're actors and that was a paid situation, because we don't loan money to Black borrowers, okay? So we have to take a stand, and it can't start with no one else. We are the soldiers of this army, so we have to step in. So for those of you just joining us, that's what we're talking about. Kiki asked, what was our perspective on credit unions? She's been with credit unions since college, and she's never dealt with banks. I think that's a great idea, Kiki. If your credit union is fulfilling your needs, then why go anywhere else, honestly? If they're giving you everything you need, loans, line of credit, low fee or no fee, banking, your checking, your savings accounts, you have the option to open other accounts, maybe some accounts for youth or someone young in your family, then hey, stick with them. Then you don't need a bank, and why deal with them if you're going to be dealing with foolishness?
I agree.
Period.
I agree wholeheartedly. You know, the economic model in this country is it's shifting. And it's very important to know that due to the, and I spoke about this in a previous conversation, due to the dollar not being what it was worth 70 years ago, the new model is kind of ushering in a new price value system. And when you combine that with the racial disparities and the discrimination that is taking place at banks like Wells Fargo, they're basically putting Black people into a hole that's going to be even harder to dig out of than it was 60 years ago. So it's very important to take all of that into consideration.
Also, too, as we continue to talk about this, you know, it's really time for us to just hone in on group economics. You know, we keep on trying to do this alone, and every one of these situations just does not pan out perfectly alone. I mean, if you have a person in your family, because I think about this even for myself, because I am single, I do not have children, and I'm 36 years old, and I'm you know, from time to time, you know, so financially in that case of like, you know, I have found a way to make a living, right? So the thing is, sometimes I think like, well, my great uncle, he gets a Social Security check. Why don't let him come stay with me? You know, I ain't doing shit but working and, you know, doing online stuff and tending to my business, but why do I want so much privacy? Why do I want so much freedom, so much space? You know, like, I mean, like, I should just like have my mama come live with me, you know, everybody like, y'all just come here and I get a bigger house. You know, I've considered that because we are going to have to rely on group economics. Think about this. A lot of us are, I mean, you all are in a position where, you know, you're married and you have families, right? But there are some of us, and I keep talking to my friends, I'm spitting it to them in a real fashion. You 36, you 37. You may not live to be 90 years old. Your grandma died at 62. Say, for instance, you died at 62 too. sister, you in the middle of this life, honey.
Right. I mean, you're right. And what do you want from it? What do you want from it? Why do you need all that privacy? You want privacy because you've been told you need privacy. You want privacy maybe because you grew up in a household full of people and it really didn't financially benefit anyone in the house. But that's because y'all didn't know better. So now that you know better, do better. Have your uncle or whoever it was you mentioned put in a little bit on groceries and a little bit on the utilities. And that's how you're saving money for yourself. Building the Black family. It's not just a nuclear family. It's the extended family as well.
It is. And Teddy, the thing that we don't consider, my generation, we're constantly kind of removing from our mindset is becoming seniors. Yes. If I'm a senior and I don't have any children and my elders have passed on, where I'm living at?
Where you gonna live? Who's gonna take care of you? What are those what are those places called that older people go, like them communities? Them jokers is expensive, y'all. They are expensive. Y'all, most of y'all can't afford them things, okay?
And this is why I feel like it's so important for us to constantly articulate this kind of wealth gap and fight for reparations in a real fashion, because you can't outwork this white supremacy.
No, you can't
outwork it. You ain't got enough limbs on your body to outwork white supremacy. So like the reality is, pay up, America. Pay up. I want to live better. I want to live good off the money that you owe me. I'm tired of playing games with you, America. Pay me my money.
And we won't be all right. This brother, I'm assuming it's a brother because this is what the lawsuit's about. He had a credit score over 800. Over 800. He had no doubt that when he submitted his application for refinancing, that it would be no problem. Even the banking auditor or the agent said it would be fine. And then days pass, weeks pass, they start asking questions, those microaggression type stuff, and he ends up getting denied. So if you have an 800 credit score and you can't get your mortgage refinance when mortgage rates are at their lowest historically, what hope do you have of keeping up with Bob, who lives next door? And Bob's a white man, by the way. And Bob goes over there and he gets his house refinanced. He gets his daughter's house refinanced. And his grandma just got her house refinanced. They just saved $500,000 in their one little family. And you can't get out of your situation. That is hopeless.
There was an NFL player in Portland who sued. He filed a lawsuit against Wells Fargo last year. In my research about this, I can't pronounce his name. His name is Owamandi. I don't know him, but I know he filed a lawsuit. Forgive me if I'm screwing up his name. He filed a lawsuit against Wells and Fargo Bank over national origin discrimination. So what happened was he tried to increase his line of credit or something like that, and they denied him. Now, mind you, this is an NFL player worth millions and millions of dollars who just wanted to increase his credit line, his credit limit on his credit card, and they denied him. And he even said in his lawsuit, it was a modest credit line increase that he asked for, and they denied him. And he filed a lawsuit. Now, I don't know what became of that lawsuit, but this speaks to how here we go they have just a long pattern of just doing this. And that's why I said this is coming across incredibly sinister. Like it's on purpose, it's deliberate. They have decided we don't want nothing to do with y'all. We don't need y'all. Don't bank with us. That they're not outright saying it, but that's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. When you say systemic and systematic, that is what this is. Because I guarantee you, they didn't know who this brother was. They didn't know who he was. They just had the box ethnicity checked, and it didn't matter what his credit score was, because they're like, we're not accepting anybody with this ethnicity or this whatever descendant of African or whatever. So they denied him, not caring who he was, and didn't think he would come back. But as they've also shown, when you come back to sue them, they still don't care. They don't make it right. Ain't no public statements. Ain't no campaign to clean it up and look better. They don't give a darn.
They don't even they don't even do a real diversity hire. They don't even try to get more Black folks in to try to fix it.
No.
Wells Fargo is straight up just old fat slave owner like right now. Like they don't care about nothing. They got the whips out and they don't give a damn who get hurt behind it. And it's so unethical. That's why America just is so trifling to me. It's to the point where it's trifling. It's trifling to be like, and not to mention, like I said, you work for Wells Fargo, you're going into work every day, you're trying to make ends meet, right? And then there's a CEO and a CFO and a COO walking around with no worries. None whatsoever. Meanwhile, my brother who's in the NFL, my brother who, decided he got an 800 credit score, this is Black folks who's trying to do things right. Because remember, the system told you, do things right in order to have access to a better life. But here's Wells Fargo making America out to be the liar she is, letting you know that even if you do it right, if you ain't white, we don't care. And that's problematic.
That is it. That is problematic. The American dream is dead, y'all. The American dream is dead. And y'all better start learning about leverage and how to invest properly. Because holding savings, as Faye said a little while ago, holding savings account, as inflation rises, your dollar is worth less and less and less. Our dollar today, from compared to last year, is worth 92 point something cents, 93 point something cents. So it's already less. As inflation increases, that dollar is worth less and less and less. So saving will not cut it. You need to figure out how to make money, have your money make money as well, and then learn how to do it once you have all that money making money. And that's why these folks are refinancing their mortgage. It's free money. It just requires you filling out some paperwork, paying another loan fee, and boom, you've saved hundreds of dollars in that monthly payment, and then hundreds of thousands. Y'all with mortgages, pull up your mortgage chart and see the payment thing and see how much interest you're paying on that mortgage for the life of it if you choose to keep it, which is a bad idea, for 30 whole years. If you have a $150,000 mortgage, you're paying over $150,000 in interest alone. That final bill is usually like upwards of, I would say, $350,000, $400,000 for a $150,000 house. So it behooves you to get the lowest interest rate and only deal with lenders that are going to treat you accordingly based upon your credit history, your credit to debt ratio, and your credit. That's what the credit score is for. Now you're telling me it's worthless? Mm-hmm. Damn. Like, what do you do next? Group economics is where we go next. That's the only way.
It is. And I keep telling everybody, group economics starts with families. And no, I'm not just talking about the people in your household, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle. There needs to be a lawyer in your family, a doctor in your family, an accountant in your family, a teacher in your family, so that those dollars that you make that is being generated within that family can circle.
Yes.
I notice now with a lot of the generation, especially with this hustle culture generation, everybody's so worried about me and mine. Everything is me and mine. Well, as long as me and mine are cool, my kids, they're not going to have anything to worry about. Well, if there are over 70 living family members on your family tree, right? And only 5 of you have wealth, that's not wealth for the family. Right. That's just wealth for who's in your house. And likely after you die, the next generation is going to deplete it before it can even spread over and carry over into the next generation.
Yes.
A lot of people need to understand what practicing group economics is so that we can start to practice. A lot of us, I think Black people just struggle to understand. That's why you look at other groups like Jewish people, Mexicans and Asians, I would say. If you notice, I think Teddy brought this up in a separate conversation one day about how they'll all stay in one house. If you notice with Jews, they'll only hire each other. I worked many, many years ago, and she's a really, really nice lady. She's an older Jewish woman, very powerful woman. Her last name, I would say, is Cohen. She was the owner of, it was a bank. I know she's big. She sits on the board at Aetna, and she runs fintech. All her sons and her nephews and nieces are all attorneys. and doctors, and they all work for the company. So she's like 80 years old now, in her late 80s, but her son stepped up after she stepped down, and his cousin and her brother stepped in so that, to take over once she stepped down. So we need to think along those kind of lines, such as, and I know Kevin Samuels talks about this a lot, and I know people hate him, but he brings up very interesting points about when you turn 65, 70 years old and you're too old to work, who's going to step in as you step down? What if your daughter or your son decides they don't want to do it? That's why cousins, aunts, and uncles also having wealth accumulated makes a difference. And we
make it so irresistible that your kids don't want to use that as an option, because they have been, and me and my girlfriend were just talking about this within the last hour. They have been growing up around the business as a youth, as a youngster, not because they're going to take over the business, because they're learning business and they understand how important it is. And just like you said, nieces, nephews, cousins, get everyone involved in the business. So, I mean, number one, we're talking business ownership, right? So we have to have that. And even if business ownership is investing in real estate or buying other businesses, it doesn't have to be your own business. It's just like money
circulating.
Yes, circulating. Like the money has to be circulating. Kids need to understand assets, liabilities, return on interest, and cash flow. And if you as an adult don't know those words and how you can use them in your life, then we have to do better. If you don't have a return on investment, and you don't have cash flow, and you don't have multiple streams of income, we have to do better, because we'll never get out of this hole that America keeps digging for us. It's a fact. There is no hidden agenda. It's not hidden. It is a blatant, outright agenda. And they keep distracting us. And the sister who just got confirmed in the Supreme Court, kudos to her. I'm so happy. But Madam President said it best in the beginning. She said, one person's win does not discount 1,000 people's loss or something. You said it perfectly. I'm butchering it now, but that is the truth. Like, I am happy for the sister. She's worked hard. She's overqualified. Shouldn't have had to go through what she did, but she does not stop Wells Fargo and Bank of America and all the other small banks that are going to follow suit, as someone said in the comments, to this interest rate hike and mortgage denial. It doesn't stop them from doing what they're doing. So this sister on the Supreme Court ain't gonna get any more money. It's not. She's not gonna do that.
Stop inflation either.
Power.
Absolutely. And what I said was along the lines of, like, one person win, in this system of white supremacy, the promotion of one person, the accolade, the victory for one person. I know we all feel like it's all of us, but it's not all of us that can have a daily benefit from one person's victory. It's a beautiful thing, but we've watched this for years. The one Black person at the expense of millions of Black people, it's getting old. It's getting played out. And one of the issues that we're having in our country is that the Black, I don't want to separate us from Black woman and Black man, but I am a Black woman. I'm a woman, so I come from a woman's perspective a lot of times. I'm speaking from my personal experience. But we getting played. We getting convinced that we need to be liberated by having our ass out. And the liberation is, give me my reparations, give me a proper interest rate on my house, the things that affect us day to day. I don't give a damn who don't get a Grammys. I'm sorry. It don't matter. Unfortunately, I don't give a damn who get an Oscars. It don't matter. What's happening with my day-to-day? What's going on with the eggs? What's going on with what's going on with the gas? What's affecting my day-to-day? And unfortunately, this is the problem in our culture with social media. Everybody is on their online life. I got folks just living an online life and being completely removed from their reality. What's happening? What's going on? What about your offline life? Your offline life is your real life. That
is your real life.
What's happening when the internet is no longer working properly? When you're out of the Wi-Fi, what's happening with you? And it's like, I'm gonna just use the reference that the Minister Farrakhan used some time ago, and I will never forget this because I was young. But every time the minister speaks, it's powerful. He says that the reason that when a person dies, they don't have any life in them, so they need somebody to dress them because they don't have no life in them. That's why you got to have somebody to put the clothes on for the dead, right? How you alive and you still need folks to dress you? You alive and you still need folks to think for you. You alive? Are you a part of the living or are you dead?
There you
and
go.
That's what I'm wondering right now. This Wells Fargo situation, if you are alive, you should be upset about this. If you dead, you should see nothing wrong with it. But this is what I'm talking about. I don't know. I'm
too busy worrying about Kanye West and what's going on the, in Black Twitter. Do you know these distractions are put out here on purpose? They're put out there on purpose. And even when it pertains to our economics, I noticed something Madam President pointed out, and even Dwayne Robinson posted a very interesting comment. He said, the problem is people cooperating. People just want theirs, and you definitely need an attorney. Also, something we need to do, like other cultures, which is exactly what I was saying. And I noticed with a lot of the way the online behavior, as Madam President pointed out, if you look at how we behave online, we're talking alike, we're using the same snappy comebacks, we're using the same hashtags, we're flexing. I don't understand the flex culture, but we're flexing, and it's coming across as us trying to assimilate into whiteness instead of stay in the greatness of our Blackness and focus on us. And that plays a huge role in what keeps us distracted and keeps our eye off the ball. I noticed it over the past 2 years, even during COVID. Everybody with the PPP loan and all of that had vacation pictures for days, but you barely had anyone talking about how they invested that money, flipped that money, so that they're creating a passive income for themselves and their family. So we need to figure out exactly what we want to do and get to work in understanding what wealth is and how wealth is created amongst within our families. Because without families, there is no wealth, and without wealth, there is no Black community. To me,
and I was going to say, Faye, and this doesn't have to be. And I'm just y'all don't have to agree with me or not, but this don't have to be a group project, because everybody ain't gonna think like you. Everybody's not gonna do what you need them. Just like people who like to travel and they never go anywhere because their friends always back out, or their friends don't have the money or whatever, so they don't go because they don't have anyone to go with. Y'all know I'll say everybody can't come. Everybody can't come with you on your journey. So if no one's coming with you and learning how to learn what stock options are and stock investing and cryptocurrency and getting into real estate and how to create multiple streams of income, then you do it all by your damn self, because you have to think about your family and you're teaching your kids and nieces and nephews. And then hopefully they're going to grow up. They're going to help you create cash flow and more income. And then when they have children, they're going to teach it to their children. So you have to start with you, and you can't really worry about everybody else. I mean, group economics can't happen without the group. But if you're trying to get people on board and they're not coming, leave their ass behind and you go forward till you find somebody that thinks like you and is doing what you're doing. And then you create a group with those people. But we can't keep waiting for each other, because most of us ain't coming. And we're going to have to be willing to just create a whole community by yourself. Like me and my husband talk about it all the time. When we go to the States, it'll be a small community of like-minded people. And I want to grow our community, grow our vegetables, grow homeschooling, do all that. And then people will come join that and we'll build it, or we'll join when it's already going. But I don't have to be in Atlanta. I don't have to be where it's on and popping and it's hot and it's live. I can be wherever it's going to foster the things that I need to help produce the family that I want to have in my old age. So you got to leave folks behind, and you be willing to.
And to give a little bit of clarity, when I say group, I'm talking families. Wealth starts in families. It does. I can't stress that enough. The importance of family. That is your support system. We had a show about that several weeks ago. I think Keisha says it best. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Isn't that her quote? So it's about family. It's about getting everything together within your family and getting away from the distractions. One of the things that has disappointed me about this Biden administration is that he is pressing all sorts of symbolism in front of us and no policy and no tangible.
No policy.
He got up there and talked when the George Floyd's killer was convicted. Oh, he saw that as a win for us. The same thing with Ketanji Brown Jackson and her confirmation for the Supreme Court. Okay, but where are the tangibles? Where's the policy?
Yeah,
you're giving out all this money to these different groups. You just sent a bunch of money to Ukraine. Where's our money? And
where's our money?
They don't care. They don't care. So get with your family, your group, and even if it not just people in your house, but get some aunts, uncles, cousins, and surviving family members on that tree and start busting a move.
There you go. And as Madam President said about reparations, there are people who really believe the government don't have it. We can't afford to give every descendant foundational Black member of slavery, descendant of slavery, whatever it's called, ADOS or whatever you want to call it, a check. That is, when y'all see how much money we spent in Afghanistan, when y'all see how much money we're going to give Ukraine, when you see how much money we gave the Mexicans, when you see how much money we granted the Asians, this is all in the last couple of years. We're talking trillions of dollars, and not once, not twice, multiple times. So we collectively as United States of America have plenty of money to dole out reparations. The only thing keeping us from getting reparations, honestly, is us and our ability not to work together and collectively be like ants or bees or any other animal in the wild that knows how to come together and destroy at will. Target something, say we're not going to use it. Target this next thing, say we're pulling all our money out and we're putting all our money here. We're not voting for you because you're not doing anything for us. So we're just going to sit this one out, period. You can do all of these things and see what effect it has, because what we've been doing ain't been working, y'all. It has not been working. So let's try something new. Let's collectively do something completely new and stand together while we do it. But there I go talking about the outside group again, and it just ain't working. So I don't know. I be talking out both sides of my mouth, and I'm talking about the Black community sometimes because it just don't work. It just don't work sometimes.
We have to learn how systems work. The thing I always talk about is winners understand systems, and they understand how to use the power of their mind to work within that system. Losers have no clue.
Yeah.
Figure out the system, because honestly speaking, when you look at the system, it's actually working the way it's been designed to. And it was never designed with us in mind.
Yeah.
And now that we know that is our cue to say, okay, if that's what you're going to do, here's what I'm going to do to make everything work for me.
Absolutely. And I just want to say that, the Biden administration has been using Black women since he started. Yes. He's been using the symbol of the Black woman since he started. He is trying to squeeze everything that he can out of the Black woman. But, it's so interesting that it's the Black woman that he wants to give all the attention to. Meanwhile, it was the Black men in mass incarceration that he ensured that you wouldn't have a man so he can constantly pull you up. The Black family is important. You cannot excel a woman in a house and forget about the people that comes from her, the people that she's coming home to. Come on, America. Come on, Black women. And I don't even got a man, and I want you to have one.
Yeah.
I don't even have a man, and I want Black women to have everything that they need very well. You get what I'm saying? The government used Black women. They used it with Kamala. They used it. They said Black women, Black women, Black women.
Abrams too.
Exactly. And meanwhile, what's happening with the Black family? What's happening? What's going on with the interest rate on the loans? Forget that. What's going on with the student loan debt being canceled?
Student loan debt. What happened? What happened?
He been lying.
Oh,
Joe,
I gotcha.
Gotcha. That's what he said.
He's like,
Gotcha with that.
good.
Yeah, so I have enjoyed this conversation. I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm definitely give everyone a chance to go around the horn and give some last thoughts. But and I'll just go first really quick. I just really want us as the Black community. It's us. It is us. B1 all the way. But we have to start the fight. We have to lead the fight in your household. I think that is a continuing theme through everything we say. I think Faye says it all the time. And Madam President, you too. We have to begin at home. Don't worry about solving the world's problems. Don't worry about solving America's problems or the state you live in. Fix your own problems at home and make sure your kids and your offspring, whether it's not directly from you, but adjacent to you, understand how they're going to be successful and whatever that looks like in their lives. I just got my kids, my 2-year-old, my 4-year-old, Monopoly Junior, and we were playing. They got it today. They were loving it. They had their little $1 bills. They're buying houses. They're paying rent. So I'm like, if I don't infuse this in them now, when they're 6 and 8 and 10, they won't understand it. So I want them to understand it now so that's commonplace, so that when they make a crazy decision, I'm like, what was your return on investment? Whether it was physically or financially, I want them to be able to give me an answer. So I'm doing the due diligence I need to do so that my kids understand how to become wealthy and what that even means and what it looks like. So you do the same. Start at home, fix your family, and then worry about then everything else. If everybody fixes their family, then it all come together naturally with group economics. It will just happen organically. So we don't have to solve the world's problems or the Black community's problems. Fix your stuff at home and have a good communication relationship with the folks in your immediate family and then your extended family. And the Black world will fix itself, assuredly.
Absolutely. I totally agree with Teddy and Faye this entire segment. I just want to say that if you got an account with Wells Fargo, it's time to make a change. This is a public service announcement. And I think that somebody, whether it's in this chat or somewhere else, and I don't care where you go, but Wells Fargo is not a place where you should have your money. They don't care about Black people as a collective, and that's it's disrespectful. So we're not going to let people disrespect our money. And we've been doing this all of our lives. I mean, even when you talk about fortune, when you talk about high-end fashion, it's Black people dying to be a part of this culture that doesn't want you. Take Wells Fargo as face value. They do not want Black folks' money. Say thank you and take it somewhere else. Yes. And the next thing I will say is that, I just want us to always keep in mind that we are valuable. Our money is valuable. And even if you don't have a lot of money, it don't matter. The collective, we have a lot of money, okay? So just keep thinking about us as a collective, and even on the aspect of just family, just moving as a unit. Togetherness is now. Now's the time to be in togetherness, because as Teddy said, we're going through some difficult and some strange times. A lot of things are shifting. I'm gonna pass the mic to Faye, but we are going into a new world where young people are having a hard time differentiating between what's real and what's fake. People going on Twitter self-incriminating themselves like idiots because they don't even know what's real and what's fake. People stunting for a world that ain't even real. You can't live in Twitter. You can't be warm and have clothes on Twitter. Like, get your real life in order. That's all I got to say.
Madam President always preaching the word, and I have to agree wholeheartedly with both her and Teddy. We are living in a society right now who think that they're going to TikTok their way to wealth and tweet their way to get a blue check mark into wealth, and they don't have to worry about acquiring any skill. They don't have to understand economics. They don't have to care about having a family and all of that. It's the wrong direction that we're going in. as I spoke about earlier, the economic model in this country is shifting, whether you want it to or not. The dollar is not worth what it used to be, and more countries are leaving. Like, our dollar value is just depleting to zero. In with this new model comes a new price value system, and it just ushers in a new system altogether. My advice to everyone: get right or get left. Do not let these people, modern men and modern women, you to death, pushing you away from getting together and uniting and finding you somebody so that you could be a family, because it's real out here and it's too much going on and we're too distracted. And just like Wells Fargo, Gucci, Hermes, and so many others, they don't want our money. So stop giving it to them.
Stop giving it to them, y'all. They don't care. I ain't never seen Chanel, and people wear them Chanel bags and them Chanel earrings. I'm like, when did Chanel say, I want y'all black money? I want y'all black folk. I've never seen it. Louis Vuitton, never seen it. Christian Louboutin was even like, I didn't know I was going to be so popular in the urban market. He ain't say thank you. He didn't say, I want to keep coming. They don't care. So stop with this ridiculous symbolism. Oh my God, it's just exhausting. But
you're not going to TikTok your way to wealth. I'm telling you that. You know, that's a movie we all watched before. I remember back in the day when everybody wanted to be a rapper. They thought that they could rap their way out of wealth. Yes. As you can see, we had a ton of rappers. But as one of my dear friends, he's a member of the group Goody Mob, said, a lot of us are home now and we had to go work regular jobs because we didn't care.
Yes.
Let's talk about that next segment, because I was gonna be a rapper too. I got a little.
You had the top tier level.
I saw you post all them Jordans you had, so I believe you.
Wait, hold on. I was gonna say that I got a passport too now, because you know how y'all black women be online talking about you got Jordans, but you ain't got no passport.
She had a bag full of Jordans, a garbage bag, y'all, not a grocery bag.
Chicago, there's a little mental psychology going on with Jordan. Chicago, this ain't normal.
Yeah, we've seen this movie before, though. Okay, it's just we're in a different cycle of it. Instead of back in the day, everybody wanted to be on Bad Boy and Def Jam. Now everybody to rap their way out of wealth or be a pop singer. Now everybody think that they're going to TikTok and tweet their way. We've watched this movie before. And while there will be some who make it to that Jay-Z, Beyonce, Drake level, everybody's not going to.
Most of y'all is not going to do it. So have a different plan. Okay. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope it blessed you, gave you some knowledge, gave you some wisdom. I'm going to end it like our friend LaNée Javet always does. We are here. We're all on social media, dropping gems all the time throughout social media. We have Madam President at One Madam President. Go to find her, like, subscribe. Madam President with the 1, by the way. And then Miss Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop. She is on that Twitter cycle, making sure it's happening. And you're on a podcast. What's the name of your podcast, Faye?
The Faye Bishop Report.
The Faye Bishop Report. So check her out. And then I am at The Real Teddy Talks on most platforms and Teddy Ewing on YouTube. We're going to end this today. We will see y'all next week, Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern-ish. And I'll end it by saying, be blessed, be black, and be one. We'll catch y'all next time. Bye, y'all.
Peace.